Hi folks, welcome to my humble homestead in the forest. And I'm off grid here in Canada, and I just gave you two reasons why I need a chainsaw, or two. Um, Trees come down um, everywhere, but also in the forest. The difference is that there's more of them to come down. And when they fall after a storm, or sometimes even it doesn't even necessarily have to be a storm. Evergreens are top heavy. They have all that foliage, I guess if you want to call it, top branches that are full. Sometimes you get rain or lots of heavy snow, and it attaches itself to it. And if they don't have good root system, a few, um, I guess, days of higher wind, and they'll fall over. And so chainsaw is you're pretty much your only friend if you're by yourself in the forest. Anyway, this one here is called Wen. At first when I saw it, I thought it was Chinese. It isn't. Apparently they've been around since the late 40s, but I don't think their chainsaw has been around that long. I'm not sure, but I bought this one at least 4 years ago, and it was my very first chainsaw. And I didn't know much about chainsaws or how to run them, operate them. And I'll do a video on that, on tips and tricks and safety and maintenance of your chainsaw if you've never used one. And this, obviously, this video is for those of you who are considering a move to such a setting. Regardless of if you're going to be off grid or not, you're going to need a chainsaw, and makes your life, your work load, your chores so much easier. What's with the flies today? So this particular one was about $100 or $200 less than the other big name brands. I won't. This is not a sponsored video. It's just something I use. So I bought what I could afford, and even for this one, I had to wait about, I think, 3 years before I could afford it. So even though it was already about $200 less than the other big boys, I still didn't have the money to buy it. And so I took a chance on this. I thought, well, can this be as good as the other guys? And to be honest, it was. And I would even say, I would go as far as saying just as good, possibly, if not better. And so when you work with chainsaw, be sure to put your gloves on, because these teeth can be sharp, especially in the beginning. The reason why I like this one, I have to get back to that, is that, first of all, this one came, I mean, they don't all, but this one came with, as part of the package, it's 40-volt battery. It's the same weight as any other brand, I would say. And although I don't know if this is, like I said, I don't know how many years this would be now. I don't know how much lighter the newer ones would be. But I think the batteries can be more powerful today for the same weight. I'm not sure. Well, what I found that I like about this one is that, first of all, the color orange. Not only orange is one of my favorite colors, but when I'm out in the forest, whether we still have lots of snow around, third week of April. So when I set this down somewhere, it's not going to blend with the rest of the setting. And it's a forest. It's everything is get camouflaged, but rarely you see something that's orange, regardless of if it's in the winter or if it's when all the snow is gone and now you have green showing everywhere. Still, orange is going to stand out, especially so much of it. So that's one reason that I like about this particular one. Secondly, it's almost all plastic housing and parts, and technically, I think it makes it lighter. Even though the battery weighs a lot, I would say this one weighs 3 pounds or so, or maybe 1.5 kilos, if that's what you know. But and ideally you want the weight, because I've seen some that go on the bottom or on the side or wherever. Ideally, I think they position this right in here, close to the top, as close to the handle and whatever you want to do, because when you're cutting whatever you're cutting, you want this huge heavy weight to also help you push down on something sideways on the back or whatever. I mean, it's still weight that helps with the gravity of pushing it down, but in this case you're more closer to the actual where the cutting action is happening, not over here, so you're not doing sort of a seesaw trying to motion. So that the position of that was good. The battery itself, in my opinion, takes too long to charge, um, because I have another brand. That one takes 45 minutes to charge, same size battery, same 40-volt battery, whereas this one takes hour and a half, maybe twice as long to charge. It's not a horrible thing, because if you're in a setting where I am now, where time is not really money like in the city, and you're living a simple life, so when this battery runs out, I can go inside and plug it in to charge and take a break. Especially if you have all your gear on and you've been walking, it's not like you're cutting processing a tree next to your house. I have to usually drag this heavy thing. This is about 5-10 pounds, and this is another 3-4 pounds. So that's a lot of weight to carry if you're, and then you're not walking down a straight sidewalk like in the city. It's just up and down peaks and valleys, and it's a long way. It can become cumbersome to walk with all this stuff. So you come back home to rest. You plug this in for an hour and a half to cool and to charge. And I said to cool and charge because I don't think it charges when it's hot. It just sits there and waits to cool down enough before it can start recharging. And we have between the months of February and November, we have way more power than we know what to do with, and we don't have an electric car, so this is not a problem to plug in. It's almost like it's not free. People think people that are on solar assembly, their power is free. It isn't. It isn't free. It's just that you pay your price up front. So it does heat up a little bit faster than my other one, that the other brand. But I found over the years that, sorry about the wind noise if you're picking that up. I found over the years that, so what happens if I have to cut or process a long tree or more than one, after a half hour to 45 minutes, it really heats up, and the motor probably heats up too, and they feed off of each other, getting really hot, and it stops. It just stops. It stops working. When you press the button at the back, see right now it has 4 dots. I don't know if you can see. So it's fully charged. Oh, a neighbor going by. That's rare to see. But I know that sometimes I know that the battery is fully charged. How come it ran out? Well, the fact is that it didn't run out. Whoever, I don't know, I can't speak for other chainsaw manufacturers. Whoever made this, don't know where it's made. I don't have my glasses on, but they put in a lot of safety measures, which is good. One of them is that when the battery gets overheated, hot or overheated, especially if I'm out in the heat of the sun and summer, heats up, it just stops working. So that I'm guessing, so that this thing doesn't become a weapon and explode. And if you're in the forest, you don't want forest fire. So so I noticed that if I take it out and leave it in the shade somewhere for 10-15 minutes, and that's okay too, like I said, if time is no money and you're living a simple life, so the trees that I did process, I can start picking them up, loading them to my wheelbarrow, taking them to where I line them up to dry. I have other things to do. It's not like I'm bound to this thing and think, oh, my day's ruined because my battery is dead. So I just leave this in the shade for 15 minutes or so. When I come back, I've gained an extra dot of power. It's just, power is there. It's just not letting you use it because it doesn't want to explode, I'm guessing. And it has other safety features that this has happened to a lot of folks that have been around chainsaws and work with chainsaws. Sometimes the chain comes off. What happens is that when you're cutting a piece of, say, a tree, I'm just talking about a log. When you're cutting it, sometimes you try you how about this, I tend to maybe go sideways or whatever, and if sometimes it gets jammed, or I try to wiggle the way its way out, but sometimes even by running it. And so this thing, if this chain gets twisted, and then because of the RPM that it has, and me fighting it, and the log trying to, maybe it's pinched it, and the chain comes off. Well, every chainsaw has this thing to protect your hand from getting hit by the teeth of the sharp teeth of the chain that could be flying towards you. So every chainsaw has that, absolutely every chainsaw. But this is just the engine shuts off. I remember the first couple of times that it happened, I was panicking because it changes the sound. It goes like that, and then shuts the motor off, shuts the battery off. It doesn't matter how much you pull this trigger and try to get it going, it won't work. It just, I love that because it's a good safety feature. Whereas before, I can only imagine 20, 30 years ago, a lot of people would have, scars up and down because the chain came off and didn't have this, or the battery didn't, or the gasoline powered ones, I don't know if they shut off. They're very, very loud too. You can hear a gasoline powered chainsaw from 2, 3 kilometers away. How much you can hear depends on how far they are. But also the guys, no offense, but most guys that like gasoline powered ones, they like to just rev it like it's a motorcycle or a car for no reason. They're not even cutting anything, they just like to play with it. Good thing about the electric or battery powered one is you let go of the trigger, silent, no sound. Like now, so you're not disturbing the rest of the forest, you're not disturbing the rest of the wildlife. It's bad enough that this thing, when it's running, it's still not as loud as, maybe I'll just show you now, double or triple the sound of that, and that's what a battery electric powered gasoline powered one sounds. I don't know what an electric powered one sounds like, but that doesn't make sense to me, because you need to have a cord that's 300 feet long or more, because if I'm in the forest, I could be a kilometer away from the house. The other thing that I like about it is that the metal ones that when we first came here, we were trying to make a clearing, felling is what it's called, when you bring a tree down. When me and the guy that I'd hired, felling trees, he had one of those big name brands, German ones or Scandinavian ones. So he had to have a special tool for it that would adjust the bolts to tighten. What your different adjustment for this is that, see this big knob here? First of all, this takes this housing off. It's plastic and it's light, but it's easy to remove. I don't have to carry around this big heavy metal sort of an extra tool that it can get lost in the forest. That's the most expensive, not most expensive, but it's one of the in fact, you don't want to have to carry it around if you don't have to. And then this other twisty, not a knob but wheel, let's call it. What it does, it, see the distance here between this turning thing, which is what the motor turns, which in turn turns the chain, and what this thing is called a bar. So this adjusts how the distance between the bar and this wheel that actually turns the chain. And you need this orange knob, because when you go to change your chain, the tension is what you want at, but it would be impossible to remove it now unless you bring this closer so it's looser, so the chain can hang and take off easily, and then you put the new one on. So then you can adjust the tension, and the tension is basically about what you see, not too loose, not too tight. Whereas again, with this name brand one, it was hard. You had to do that by hand every time he took a break, and it would run out every hour. He would have to refill the gas and oil. So this only takes oil. The oil is a lubricant, doesn't burn, not to power it. And I dare anyone doing a demonstration of any kind on a chainsaw not to see the build-up of anything there, and to not resist the temptation to blow it. So anyway, see how I tighten this? Now the housing is tight, this is tight, and I've already adjusted. I don't know if you can see. No, you can't. So you go down, it loosens it, you pull it up, it tightens it to the tension you want. And the tension you want is about, so you can put a dime, or I don't know, some countries might not have a dime, but a very small, very thin, maybe quarter of an inch, or about this much, if you can see it. So I think, oh, what I don't like about it is, like, a few years ago, started to have this oil leak build up. I don't know how. I've never dropped it, and you can see how shiny it is here. So you put the oil in this way, from this side, using this cap, and this here shows the level of oil. It's empty now because a lot of it's run out. Now, I understand that nobody makes things to last forever, but I just thought that I would have been able to get more than 4 years out of this before this happens, before it starts to have an oil leak, which also is something I don't want, because I don't smoke or drink or do drugs, and so I'm here to keep this place as serene and as pure as I can. I don't want my car to drip oil. I don't want this to drip oil where I go, and so in this case, it's kind of doing it. So what I'm resorting to is that I wait to have enough trees that are down that I need to process. Then I fill the oil reservoir. Then I go out and do as much as I can. Now, some of that oil gets spent by lubricating this bar and the chain anyway, so that's where that's supposed to go. So some of it gets lost to that, but whatever else that I lose coming out of the bottom of it, at least it's not sitting in my garage somewhere and just pouring out, not pouring out, but leaking out and just going into nowhere. So that's my review of this Wen chainsaw. I would say I would give it 3 out of 5 stars. I love a lot of the safety features, and I don't really like the weight of the battery, because in case you have to walk long distances, and how long it takes to charge. But how long it takes to charge, it's okay. I can live with that. But it's way heavier than when I have to drag it. And I really don't like that it's leaking like that. I really, really don't like that. Anyway, but I do recommend, if it's your first time, you don't have to spend $600 or whatever on a brand that all the good old boys using. It's no offense. You can buy something that's like this, and I've been using, and I'm not a backyard homesteader, urban homesteader. I use this a lot, and so if it's lasted me 4 years, sometimes in the heat of the sun, sometimes in the winter I have to use it, depending on when a tree comes down. I don't know. And so a good solid 3 out of 5 stars, and if you're just starting out as a beginner, this will do you. I honestly don't know how much better the something that costs twice as much as this would be. I will, like I said, I'll make another video on tips and tricks and maintenance, sharpening. That's very important, sharpening your chain, and I'll post that after. For now, thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. Hope you have a nice sunny day as I'm having one here today. Bye.